Okay, so I wanted to just cover on what I've been working on this week, which is the delete and the update portions of the CRUD operations of this website, which is PHP Motors. So if you visit PHP Motors, you can open an account with us and then create one and then log in later on. So to illustrate what I've been working on, we're going to open an account and we are going to just do that momentarily. The name of the account that we open is going to be Dan, and this surname is going to be Dan. Let's give him Jackson, and this email is going to be Dan@gmail, and this password is going to be Jackson123 and question mark, and then you create an account. So then it says, thanks for registering, Dan, please use your email and password to log in. So then let's use Dan's password to log in. Jackson123 question mark, and there we are. So Dan is now logged in. So what I've been working on is that it's already working the way I want it now. But if I then say view page, oh, what's happening here? Okay, this is what I wanted. I wanted the page source. So if I say view page source, you see that I have a section, and then I have an H2 account management, and then I have an A tag within this, and then within that A tag I have an icon. This is what you see here. I have this account management, then I have an icon, and I have an update info. So if you click either the icon or the update info, it then takes you to, if you look at the action is equals to update. Now when you go to update, this is what is going to be activated on our case, on our switch. So it will update, it will activate this case update. This case, what I'm basically doing is that I get into the global variable session. Each time that you then visit PHP, we start a session, and within that session, the username is stored, and the email and the client ID once you retrieve your information from the database. Now that information is then stored in the session. We don't have to continue querying the database for that current information. Then I basically slice that session to get the client ID, and then I pass that client ID in this variable called session data. Then I have a get client information. Get client information is basically a function that I've created within my model, which I then later on use there. I have the client ID passed through here as a parameter, and then I connect to the database. I have a SQL query that requests the first name, the last name, the email, and the client ID of the from the client's table, where the client ID matches that client ID that we have supplied here. Here on line 63, you see that I'm binding this variable that we have received to here, and then I return the client data. So if we then look through here, the client data that is stored here is basically information that has been queried from the database. I want to make sure that the person who's on the session is the same person that is going to then query. We're going to get the updates working. Now that information is then passed on to the view. In this case, it's then passed to, because we have clicked update. Let's already click update and see that how it's going to work. So if you then click here update, that information is then what is being rendered on the first name, the Jackson, and the email. I could have just easily accessed that information within the session, but rather I queried from the database for security purposes. So then when it comes through here, I have PHP code within the update, which renders the first name. It sets the value to be the client first name. It does the same thing here. It does the same for the email. I don't do that for the password though, because obviously for security reasons. So let's see now how this works. We have done Jackson, and so let's change this name to Daniel, and let's change this to Daniel@gmail. So if you look in our database momentarily, you see that we have a Dan that is stored Jackson with this email, and the password has been hashed, and the client level is still on 1. So Dan doesn't have much options to work with on our website at the moment. So now let's basically update this information, and then we'll see how this is working. We can actually do the same thing here as well, but let's just do one at a time. Update. So then it says, then Daniel, you change your data successfully. Then it renders Daniel Jackson at Daniel@gmail. So the way that I implemented that is that once this information is supplied, now the one that you have changed, it is when you click on the update info, the hidden button is activated. There's another hidden button that we just added, whose value is passed from the client data, that is the client data that is coming from the database. Then we keep the client ID now. That information is then passed because we have clicked this button, the hidden one. The value activates this case update info. We get the information that we're looking for: the first name, the last name, the email. We sanitize them, make sure that the email passes the check, something as the password. We do a server-side validation, and then we pass that information into update client info, which takes client first name, client last name, client email, and client ID, and then it passes that echo. I don't want to echo that. This was for debugging. This is now a function that I did in my model that connects to the database. Update clients table. It then sets the values to their respective categories, and then we bind them. Then after that, we just report the rows that have changed. So that is working successfully. Hence we have been able to change the account details. So now once the rows that has been reported is 1, it means that it has been successful. It then executes this code. If it's not successful, it will then say, sorry, it did not work. But if it's successful, we inject within session another key code updated, which we set to true, a client name that we set to first name that has been supplied, the last name that we set to the last name, and the email, and then the message. So then this information is then what is, if you look through my admin PHP, I have an else if. So this if conditional statement, it's deciding which name is going to be rendered on the view. If updated is false, it will render the information that was in the old session before we injected the new keys. If updated is true, it then reads rather the new keys that I would have inserted into the session. So that's how it decides which name is going to be rendered. And then for our password, let's go ahead and change the password. So if you click account, we click update account, then we change this password. Let's change it to Daniel Jackson 12345 hash, and then click that. Then it says your password change was successful. Please use your email and password to log in. So that is for the next time that you'll be logging in, but that would have successfully been changed. So if we refresh that, you see that the Daniel changed, the Jackson changed, Daniel email changed, and the password is also hashed, has changed. So it's similarly, it worked the same thing for the password changes. I'll just show you quickly. Once you click that button, there's another hidden button which activates this. We get the data, we check the password, we hash it, and then we update client password, which is a function that is within the model. It takes the hashed client password and the client ID, and then it sends it to the database. So that's how that one is working. And then let's just check to make sure that our updates are meeting the front end. Just something else to show you that I thought was pretty 2 is that if I change here let's see if I remember his password. Okay. If I click here, just wanted to see if it will pass all the front end. Okay, the HTML is fine. Let's do the CSS. The CSS is doing fine. Then we do the last one, which is we have to wave this page, and then there's no error, so you can close this. Then I'll just reload that page, and then we log out, log back in. It's Daniel. And Daniel. How you spell Daniel? Daniel. X1, 2, 3, 4. I think F5 as well. I don't remember. Okay, there you go. So now we changed the client level for Daniel, and hence you see it's on level 3. So then Daniel is up. Level 1 doesn't have access to the vehicle controller, but level 2 and 3 have access to the vehicle controller. So that's how this works. If you then click the vehicle controller, you have access to that. That's a whole different video altogether. But anyway, I think that's it for now. Cheers.